We got final thoughts. It's a big football game. Final thoughts on this weekend's SEC Championship. Boys, you felt it when these two played back in September that they'd see each other again somehow, some way. They'd meet again, and they'd meet again with even more on the line. Georgia, the football team, with the cushion to cut it loose. Big brother Bama attempting to control their own college football destiny. You know, when these two football teams match up, it's going to be an absolute war. 4 quarters, who blinks last? The football team that makes the last mistake in this football game ultimately loses it. All right, so you have to know that one going into this. Injuries will play a major role in this one, there's no doubt. Drew Bobo out for the University of Georgia in this ball game, going up against one of the best nose tackles in SEC football in the form of Tim Keenan. Malachi Tolliver going to have to go to war and battle strong in this one. Bama also banged up in this one. Without their tight end, without LT Overton, expected to have a banged up Parker Brailsford. Josh Cuevas, the tight end, very, very important for this offense all year long. They've been without him for several weeks. But boys and girls, welcome to postseason football. That is what it is. It's time to buckle up and go to war with what you've got on your roster, all right? What it boils down to in this football game for me, can Georgia lie to Ty Simpson? Can you disguise everything that you've got going on? Can you mix it up as well? Disguise, mix it, make him never feel comfortable, make him understand or not ever really truly know what the answer to the test is before the ball is snapped, all right? That's very, very important. I think the other question I have in this one, all right, is whether or not Georgia can hang offensively if the game goes in the way that they don't want it to go, which is a third and long battle. If this game turns into which one of these quarterbacks can live and survive on third and long, which one of these quarterbacks can throw for 350 yards and be the reason and the only reason that the football team wins, Alabama's shown the ability to do that this year. I don't know if that's the recipe for success for Georgia. So got to be great on first and second down on the offensive side of the football. Got to maintain third and fours. Got to maintain third and twos. Got to maintain the ability to stay on the field and convert the chains. And I think that ultimately boils down to whether or not Malachi Tolliver or Cortez Smith, whoever it is that draws the ability to get the start this weekend and earns the right to go out there and do so, do they have a winnable performance? If you've listened to this network over the years, that's how Georgia grades their takes. That's how Georgia grades their roster. Do you play winnable football? If I throw you out there, will you perform at a winning rate? All right? I don't need you to play like an All-American on Saturday, Malachi Tolliver. I need you to play winning football. And do we have an opportunity to do that? It's a major task and a major concern going into this game because they are so zero-based. They play a true zero 80% of snaps. So that center is going to be hovered over by, again, one of the best nose tackles that college football has going right about now. My other question in this football game is, does Georgia or does Alabama have another one of these quote-unquote off days as a passing football team? Felt like against Oklahoma, it was misses by Ty Simpson, just spraying it, just not trusting what he was seeing, overthrowing, underthrowing, missing shots that he had made all year long. Against Auburn, I felt like it was drops at the tight end position from young football players, drops from 17, Brooks, the young freshman wide receiver, drops at the sideline, maybe not drops, but things that weren't connected between Ty Simpson and Jeremy Bedard that had been connected at a really, really high rate up until that point in the season. Do they have another quote-unquote off day in that passing department? We'll find out on Saturday. But I think most importantly going into this football game is the fact that Kirby Smart, in games in which he has nothing to lose, is a different football coach. He's a much more fun football coach to watch, honestly, because he throws caution to the wind. We saw this in the SEC Championship game last year, calling a fake punt with Drew Bobo and converting a very, very pivotal drive in a situation where if they don't get that, Texas probably kicks a field goal and wins the football game right then and there and closes it out. Instead, Georgia goes on and wins the game. I think that's a major difference in this one, is the fact that this is a football team in Georgia that, like I said to start, they could throw caution to the wind and go out there and play loose because they got nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. By the way, chat, Hunter Lacey, you took offense to the Big Brother Bama comment. Go beat Big Brother this weekend. You'll be all right.
Yeah, going back to what you said about, like, they have the least to lose, like, this has got to be the most house money Georgia's played with in a Georgia-Alabama game under Kirby Smart. Like, there isn't a title on the line other than the SEC Championship, and yes, that's important, but there's not a college football playoff appearance at stake. There's not a certain win streak that you have where, you know, if you lose this game, the regular season win streak ends or the home win streak ends or the 30-game win streak ends. Like, none of that's on the line. And plus, you've already dealt with the disappointment of losing to Alabama this year and getting really hyped up and thinking you're going to win and this will be your year. Like, Georgia truly has nothing to lose in this game. So it's going to be interesting to watch how that plays out.
All right, I'll get into my final thoughts. As the chat knows, everybody on this show picked Alabama earlier in the week to win, but don't worry. I'm not going to spend my final thoughts telling you why I think that's going to be the case or anything like that. In fact, I thought it would be best maybe if I left you Georgia fans with some things to be confident about going into this weekend, maybe some things that you should definitely feel good about into this matchup. So here's the first one I got for you. First time around, this defense was young. This defense was inexperienced. I mean, Ellis Robinson, Kyron Jones, DeMello Jones, Quintavious Johnson, Chris Cole, Justin Williams. Those are young players that maybe had played last season, gotten some burn, but they were inexperienced at that moment, but not at this point in the year. Those are not young football players anymore. Those could be classified as veteran football players at this point in time for Georgia. So don't worry about the younglings on the defense for Georgia this weekend. This is an experienced unit at this point in the year. These SEC championships boil down to execution and discipline a lot of the time. And Georgia has been probably the most consistent team in the conference at being exactly that throughout the entire year. Now, I know that there were some moments in the first time around against Alabama where that didn't show up, where you didn't execute on some big-time plays and it cost you the football game. But if you had to bet on Georgia to have that replicate or for them to be execute at a high rate and be very disciplined in this game, I think you bet on that part to happen because that's something that this team preaches constantly, and they've shown that time in and time out. That's something that you can believe in them to be able to do, especially in a game like this. You've been here before. Your coach has been here before. These players have been in this game before. This is Kalen DeBoer's first ever SEC championship game. Some of these Alabama players have not played an SEC championship game. I think that experience and these types of moments, and especially in a game like this, I think that can matter because you understand the magnitude of this game, and you kind of understand how these matchups tend to go in a conference title game. And then the final one that I'll give to you is these teams are banged up. These teams have injuries on both sides of the ball. There's a good chance that this one comes down to who could bite the towel for the longest. So how fitting is it that your coach and your team preached all offseason about just that? You know what the best antidote for injuries and pain is? How about some fire, passion, and energy? Woo! Something that Georgia, that was their motto. That was their mantra for the entire offseason. And boy, if they showed up in the season showing some fire, passion, and energy. I'm not saying that Alabama players don't play tough or anything like that, but I am saying it's kind of fitting that in this game, that's something that Kirby Smart has instilled in a belief into his players. It's a requirement to win this SEC championship game.
Where are the dogs at, Jonathan?
On top?
Perhaps.
Oh.
Dogs on top?
Say it ain't so, Jonathan.
You know, it's funny we have talked about that because it's become somewhat of an annual tradition at this point for Georgia fans to leave an Alabama game and wonder, how the hell did we manage to lose that game? It's happened a handful of times over the last decade. And as another matchup against the Alabama Crimson Tide approaches, the question now turns to, what does Georgia have to do to win this game? How can they get over that hump? How can they, like you say, beat Big Brother? What do they need to do? And as a curious member of the media and a Georgia fan myself, I too have been wondering the same thing. What is the secret sauce? How do they get this done? What is it going to take for the dam to burst? And how can Georgia beat Alabama? So, after extensive research and painfully reliving the last 8 to 9 losses, yeah, that was a bad one. Reliving the last 8 to 9 losses that Georgia's had, I have finally found out what is the one thing that Georgia has to do to beat this football team. There are tons of analysis that will take place this entire week. There will be a ton of breakdowns, and there will be qualities of things to do them. There's going to be a lot of nuances in this game, but this matchup will come down to one extremely simple statistic that I don't think is being talked about enough. It's turnovers. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. Dude, no shit, the turnover battle is important to winning a football game. That's basically how it is in all these matchups, and it's an important factor in any football game. I would say this, though. It is the factor in this football game. Let's read some statistics, shall we? Of the 8 winners in this game, the winner of the turnover battle is 7-1. More on the outlier later. There have been a total of 3 double-digit victories in this series. The losing team in those 3 victories has had 2 turnovers in all 3 occasions, at least 2 turnovers. Against Georgia, Alabama has scored 40-plus points 3 separate times. The turnover splits in those 3 games, Alabama, 2, Georgia, 9.
Whoa.
Yes. So let's break down one-score games to get some examples here. 2017, Jake Fromm has a pass intercepted in the 3rd quarter of the national championship. Alabama turns that turnover into a field goal, 3 points. Final score of that game, wouldn't you know, 26-23. 2023, an end around gets fumbled inside Georgia's red zone. Alabama turns that into a field goal. Final score of that game, 27-24. I'll save you the details for last year's or this year's matchup with Nate Frazier because we all know how that ends. Spoiler alert, it's the same exact story. Now let's bring up the outlier. There has been one instance where a team has won the turnover battle and not won this football game. The 2018 SEC Championship. Alabama had 2 turnovers in that game. Georgia had none. That's the recipe for it, right? Here's the kicker of it, though. Georgia had 0 points off of those 2 turnovers. And here's the absolute worst part that will rip Georgia fans' hearts out in a minute. This is the iconic Justin Fields fake punt game. If you wouldn't remember that, Georgia attempted, for some odd reason, a fake punt late into the 4th quarter. Ball was turned over. Alabama got the ball back around midfield, scored a touchdown on that drive. Final score of that game, 35-28. So there's a plethora of quality breakdowns that we can have done for this game of pass rush metrics, rushing yard comparisons, who's injured, who's not, phantom offsides penalties that may or may not have been the correct call, 3rd down percentage. But the only metric that is truly going to matter in this game, the only thing that will determine whether or not we come in on Sunday and are talking about, hey, Georgia won or Georgia lost, will be turnovers. So in case you're wondering if Georgia will win on Saturday, the secret recipe to doing so is just getting turnovers and scoring any points off of them. It's simple, I know. It's very simple.
The secret sauce is out.
However, it's so damning when you look at the statistics of this man, Georgia has gotten their asses kicked in the turnover battle.
Those got a subscription in them?
No, these are blue light. But it's for the emphasis, dude. It's for the bit.
That boy.
Nah, these are not subscription at all, no. I'm not trying to steal valor with glasses.
Jonathan got the joke of the week off camera.
Oh, God, dude. That's brutal. That's brutal, dude.
Can't do it.
Well,
No, shit, post show.
Yeah, that's a post show.
Hey, doppelganger though.
Perhaps.
B minus.
Yeah.
Was this about me?
I mean, you resembled a certain somebody.
I know exactly where this is going, and no, it is not that.
Okay.
I'm
Chat wants us to give him 3.
I'm guessing.
I think we should.
Hey, that boy Christian Kirby, give him 3.
I'm guessing you looked up a certain.
No.
No. We didn't look up anything.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Win the turnover battle and you win the game. Bottom line. Final thought on that.
It's going to be a good weekend. I hope.
It's going to be a great one or a bad one.
Could be the last time in a minute we get to preview a Georgia football game.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be for 2 weeks at least.
Yeah, either way, we're not going to talk about Georgia football, like actually playing a game until at earliest December 20th, right?
Mm-hmm. But it could be New Year's Eve.
Dude. I mean, not to go ahead, never mind. We can lick wounds if there's wounds to be licked afterwards. But a home playoff game wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Oh, Athens would be awesome. Home playoff game in that stadium.
I'll take that bye, though.
Whew.
Hey, what do you think Gunnar Stockton thinks about this game this weekend?
He's such a cut and dry guy. Oh, you want me to do this?
He's
Let's
asking.
try this again.
Here's what you do. You have to address him as Gunnar.
Okay.
He has to get in character.
It's been a minute since I've done this.
Hey, Gunnar, what do you think about this game this weekend?
No, it's a great opportunity for the Dogs. Happy to be here, that we earned the right to play in this game. And, any day the Dogs win, that's a great day. So that's what we're going to try and do.
Dogs on top. We'll see you this Sunday. Hey, what's want to take a quick minute to give a shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. What a great time to be here on this network this year, but also a great time to be with our friends over at Sleeper. Go over to Sleeper today, the #1 place for daily fantasy and prop plays. Sleeper Picks is a real money product that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick more than or less than the predicted stats. It's that simple. On Sleeper, you can get up to 100x payouts, share with your friends, and get rewarded today. Use promo code Brooks, as you see on the screen, on Sleeper and get 100% deposit match up to $100. Again, that's sleeper.com/promo/Brooks. Terms and conditions apply. Boys, as you know, we're about 28 minutes at the time of this ad read from the kickoff of NFL Sunday. So go ahead, run over to Sleeper right now. I'll give you permission to leave the stream actively. Go over to Sleeper, get a play in right quick, and get paid. We appreciate those folks over there at Sleeper. Again, that's promo code Brooks over there on Sleeper.